What's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again, and today I'm going to be reviewing episodes 1 through 5 of Arrow. Yes, welcome to Arrow Chat Fridays. I'm WWE fan 0599, and I would like to thank 22 Tiger Dude for letting me do this segment on his channel. So this week we will be reviewing episodes 1 through 5. And then next week we're going to be reviewing episodes episodes 6 through 9, and just to prepare for next week's mid-season premiere. So let's start with episode 1, which is called The Claim, I think. So this episode is basically about, the events of the season 2 finale 6 months after it, and we see the city's back in control. We see that Oliver is now, the vigilante thing is off. It's now, no longer will we be going after Green Arrow anymore. So yeah. And there's this guy that used to work with Count Vertigo that is now coming after Green Arrow. So what did I think of this episode? Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers. Spoilers. If you haven't seen episodes 1 through 5, do not watch this review, alright? So yeah, spoilers are ahead. So what I think of episode 1, I thought this was a great episode, I really did. This was a very great start to the season. It was really, really great. I did really enjoy this episode. I know 22 Tiger Dude did not really enjoy this episode, but, that's cool for him. I really did like this season premiere. So I guess let's get into what I liked from this episode. I did like the character development from this episode. I did like the fact that, we got more we see that Oliver now likes Felicity, and we see them going on their date and everything, and you can tell that it's not gonna work out, really. It isn't. You see that the restaurant gets blown up, and so yeah. We see Oliver fighting this guy who, really just wasn't really that menacing. I thought he really wasn't. But, we see him fighting him throughout the episode. Yeah, I like that from this episode. And, I've also liked the fact that, that Diggle, Oliver tells Diggle, you can't be on the floor anymore because he has a baby now, and he's like, you would have been dead a bunch of times if it wasn't for me. I like that tension between those two in that episode. And we also see, and towards the end of the episode, we see Sarah. Yes, she has come back, but not for long. So yeah, then towards the end, you see that she gets shot down with 3 arrows. She's dead, which left me emotionally sad. It did. The saddest death of 2014 for me, in like movies or TV wise, really. I really thought so. So yeah. Overall, this was a really great opening start to this, season. I really did enjoy episode 1 of season 3 of Arrow. So it's time for my official grade, and my official grade on episode 1 of Arrow is an A+. I thought this was a great episode, did really enjoy this episode. So let's move on to episode 2, which is entitled Sarah. So what this episode is basically about is that now they're trying to track down who Sarah's killer is. And, we see that we might think it's this guy that's wearing a black mask, he's shooting arrows, we might think it's him. And Laurel is gone insane about this. She wants to find whoever this guy was, and yeah. And so what I think of this episode, another great episode, really was. It really was a great episode in my opinion. I loved this episode, just as great as episode 1 in my opinion. Episode 2 was just awesome. So let's get into the things I liked about this episode. The action scenes in this episode, it was really action-packed, actually, this episode was, and I did really like that from this episode. I did like the villain a lot more than last week's villain, I did. Oliver Queen, he's upset about this, and, he's trying to calm down Laurel, because Laurel is just, losing her mind about this. I like the fact that he's like, I'm gonna find who this person is, don't you worry about it, and she doesn't want to get involved. It doesn't want her getting involved. Overall, this was a really enjoyable episode. I thought this was actually a better episode than episode 1, in my opinion. Even though I did love episode 1, I just felt like this one had a lot more character development, had a lot more action. Also, the scene at the funeral, man, was it sad, seeing them all gather around, looking at Sarah, Sarah's grave, it was really sad. My official grade on episode 2 is an A+. This is a great episode in my opinion. I did really enjoy episode 2. It was a great episode. So let's move on to episode 3. Episode 3, this one is called Kamato or something Martiz. It's something like that. Episode 3. Now, this episode is about Oliver, Diggle, and Roy. They're going to Carto Martiz. That's what it is. It's Carto Martiz. And they are going to go rescue Thea and try to get her back to Starling City. Now, what did I think of this episode? This felt like kind of a filler episode, but I still really enjoyed this episode. I do have a few problems with this episode, though. But let's get into the things I liked. The things I liked, I did like the action in this. The action is always great, but the action in this one I did really enjoy. I like that they built the bow. They didn't take their weapons with them. Oliver built bow and arrows out of the stuff around their hotel, which was great. I love that they did that. That was awesome. I did like some of the flashbacks that we saw of Thea being trained by Malcolm. I did like that. I liked seeing that from this episode. Malcolm basically teaching Thea not to take pain and everything. I did like seeing that. I did like some of the tension between when Oliver was talking to Thea and everything. I did like that stuff. I did like that he was trying to convince her to go back to Starling City, but she just wouldn't. My 2 negatives I have with this episode is going to be, 1, why hasn't Oliver told Thea that she's the Arrow yet? Why? Why hasn't this happened yet? I mean, are you kidding me? Why hasn't this happened yet? Are you kidding me? Tell her that you're the Arrow already, okay? And my second negative is that at times this episode felt very slow. So yeah, I felt like it was a slow episode at times. That's just my opinion, of course. Time to give my official grade on episode 3, and my official grade on episode 3 is an A-. I still enjoyed the episode, so it's getting an A-. Now let's move on to episode 4, which is entitled The Magician. The Magician, this is by far I will say this is the second best episode. This was a great episode. This really was, The Magician. And this one's basically about is that Malcolm is back in Starling City. He's trying to, they're thinking he's the one that killed Sarah, and we kind of think he is the one, but, yeah, we see that everything, and, so, yeah. Like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this episode was great. Let's get into the positives. The positives are the tension between Oliver and Malcolm. That's always great. I love always seeing those two on screen, facing each other. It's always awesome seeing those two face each other on screen. It's awesome in my opinion. The action is awesome in this episode, really was. Also towards the end when you see that triple threat style fight between Oliver and Ra's al Ghul's daughter that I cannot remember the name for, and Malcolm. I really enjoyed seeing that. That was pretty cool. So it's time for my official grade on episode 4, and my official grade on episode 4 is an A+. Definitely a great episode, in my opinion. I really enjoyed episode 4. Now let's move on to the final episode for this review, and it is episode 5, which is called The Secret Origins of Felicity Smoak. Now, what this episode is about, basically what the title ensues, we get basically an origin story of Felicity Smoak. And, we see her back in the day. She was a goth. She was goth, basically. She worked for this hacker thing. We see her, then in the present day, we see her mother coming to visit and everything. So, yeah. So, what do I think of this episode? Even though I enjoyed the episode, I did feel like it was a filler episode. I did. It really did feel like a filler episode, in my opinion. But I still did really enjoy the episode. I still liked it. So let's get into my positives. And my positives are, I did like seeing, I don't know why I forget to mention him, but Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh But this was the episode where he was really memorable, in my opinion. You know, seeing him giving the watch to Felicity's mother was hilarious. But I just really enjoyed seeing Brandon Routh and all the other episodes he was in as well, you know. He's just great. He really is. I really enjoyed seeing the origin story of Felicity Smoak. I did enjoy seeing her origin, see where she came from, see what happened all the way through. You know, the action in this episode, action was great. I also did really enjoy where Oliver and Roy, Roy teamed up finally, you know. Roy gets to do something where he doesn't get down mostly all the time. And, you know, you see him doing all this type of stuff, and it's awesome. Even though I thought this was a filler episode, I still did enjoy it. My negatives is that at times we have that cliched mother and daughter not getting along situation. And I was just like, can we just go back to wherever we were before, you know? Just thought that I was really annoyed by that at times, so yeah. So aside from my official grade on episode 5, my official grade on episode 5 is a B+. I still thought this was a good episode, even though it was a filler episode. So, what did you guys think of all these episodes? What did you guys think of episodes 1 through 5? Leave them in the comment section below, and I'm WWE Fan 0599, and we will see you all later. We will see you next week, actually, for episodes 6 through 9. Peace.